Welcome to Mind the Gap. We are going to be talking about all kinds of stuff up in here. So stay tuned, y'all. It's about to get real. Welcome in to the very first episode of Mind the Gap. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I cannot wait to get this started. I'm going to keep it real simple, real easy this first time around, where I'm just going to talk a little bit about who I am, what I do, and what you can expect as a listener from this show. All right, so I'm going to keep it really real with you guys. I have been planning this episode for ages, and I keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because I just don't really know what I want to tell you. There's just so much stuff. So I've been frozen in indecision. It's a great place. We're all frozen there sometimes. So today I just made the decision. I'm doing it. Here I am. I'm going to be sharing this time with you to kind of explore the human mind, social issues, coaching tools, and current cultural issues. So who the heck am I? Jennifer Butler, Jen Butler. I'm a certified youth life coach, and I have a passion for helping people. Yay! Is that vague enough for everyone out there? I currently work as a certified youth life coach with a focus on teens and young adults, but I never let age stop me from working with someone that I think I can help. And really that's what it comes down to is, can I help you figure out what you need to figure out in order to be your best self and learn how to walk through life? Some people are really surprised to hear about a certified youth life coach. That's something that is not necessarily mainstream yet, and hoping that we can make it some mainstream stuff out there. And people always ask me like, well, why do you work with youth and young people? And the main reason is, y'all, I think you're rad. Like, I think that young people are so amazing and so full of potential, and the world is just like at your front door. And with the help of a coach, you could really tap in and utilize all of those strengths that you have at your fingertips without having all of the other baggage that we all have when we get old, like me. Just kidding. I am not old. 37 is so young. I oftentimes still feel like I am learning things for the very first time on a daily basis because learning never stops. I can't wait. I said this when I was in my teenage years. I'm like, I can't wait until I'm in my 30s. I'm going to know everything. I'm going to be so successful. People are going to take me seriously. And now that I'm in my mid to late 30s, I'm like, yay, can't wait until I'm like 50 that I'm really going to have it done. I don't think I'm ever really going to have it figured out. And I think I'm okay with that. So I'm going to share just a little bit of background with you guys on me and what got me started and where I'm at right now. So what got me started in becoming a life coach, specifically a youth life coach, is when I was 19 years old, I had a friend who wanted to save me from the dread that I had in working in retail daily. And she said, hey, Jen, you like kids. You should come work with me at this group home. And I was like, okay. The pay was better, the hours were better, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And I did not know what I was getting myself into. So background on group homes. A lot of people don't know that there are group homes or that they're still out there. But here in California, we have a rating system of 1 to 14. And the ratings from like 1 to 8, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, those are foster homes. And so when you think about being like a foster parent and you bring kids in to the home, there's different ranges of levels for that. So like 1, 2, 3 is the foster homes that are really talked about a lot on TV, where there's like 10 kids in the house and the other ones pick on them and all that kind of stuff. There's lots of kids in the house. And then as you go up in the levels, it means that there's less children in the house at any given time. Like they're only allowed to have so many particularly because those kids tend to have more behaviors, and they just need more one-on-one time, more supervision, than someone who is showing a lot of autonomy and is being thrown into a home that has a whole bunch of other foster kids in it. And then you get to level like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And this is where you're talking about, it's typically a home setting. So like in a normal neighborhood, they have a home that is there and the children live in the home. There's typically only 6 beds in each house. I did the facility I worked at. We had 2 houses that had 7, but that was an exception. And there are staff there. The staff are always awake. The kids aren't allowed to do a lot. Everything is structured. This group home that I went to go work at was a level 14, and they're designated as subacute psychiatric care facilities. And a lot of the kids that we had coming into that setting were either coming from juvenile hall or from a locked hospital setting. So some sort of locked psychiatric care that they were into because they had a psychiatric need, being AKA a danger to someone else or to themselves. So you can imagine these kids coming in are not like your bright, happy, go lucky cheerleaders or football players. These kids have had a lot of shit happen to them in their lives. And it was our job to help them figure out how to go on a daily basis and not, punch someone in the face or set something on fire. Like, this is literally this was our day. And I loved it. I am not going to lie. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, other than raising my own children, because that's all the time. But I loved being at a level with these young people who had every reason in the world to want to just rip the walls down. And being able to work with them and walk with them in a way that they gained power over their own damn life. They weren't going to let what happened to them pull them down forever. These kids were so stinking strong, and it was so motivating to work with them and watch them grow and be a part of that existence for them. That's how I found my passion in life. So at 19 years old, I found my passion. I didn't know it was my passion until I was much older. I started going to community college when I was 23. Originally, my major was going to be early childhood development, and that quickly got me into psychology. And so it took me 7 years working full-time, going to school part-time, 7 years to earn my Associates of Science in Psychology with honors. I was super happy that day when I finally graduated. I transferred to a 4-year college out here in California. It's called UC Davis, University of California, Davis. It's a top 10 school in the United States. It was rad. It was awesome. I learned a lot. And I got my bachelor's degree in 2 years. And ultimately, my plan was to go and get my PhD in clinical psychology and go into research and do all these other things. But you know what? Life happens. And that didn't happen. I didn't get accepted into any of the schools that I applied to. I was not young and spry. I was not 22-year-old. And okay, well, I'll try again next year, or I'll go do an internship and move back home with my mom. Now, I was 31 when I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And we, meaning me and my now husband, sat down and were like, okay, well, all these things that we've been planning for the last 5 years did not happen. So now what? We have to make a new plan. And he's like, hey, let's have kids. And I was like, hey, we should probably get married first. And then he was like, yeah, let's do it. And so 8 months later, we got married, and I found a mundane job that paid the bills and kind of just went forward, and we're doing our thing. And we had a baby, and I changed jobs again, and then we had another baby, and I'm like, oh God, I really don't want to have some stupid job that doesn't give me any fulfillment in life. And so I had to sit and think about what I wanted to do. And here's the best place to start when you're trying to figure out what you want to do. Think about the things that you like doing. And I was like, oh God, I really miss working with teenagers. I really miss it. But there was absolutely no way in hell I was going to go back to graduate school to become a teacher or whatever. I didn't want to do that. I did not want to saddle my family with any more debt because I already had enough of that. So I was sitting there thinking, super pregnant, super uncomfortable. And then all along, this little thought pops up into my head and it says, life coach. I was like, oh, a life coach. Okay, let's look into this. And I start looking and I find some programs and every different program you could possibly imagine. And I found a couple that were geared specifically to working with adolescents. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Most of them, however, are really focused on working in kind of like an educational mode. So it's like coaching through education so they get better grades and get to the right school, blah, blah, blah. And that's good, but not all I wanted to do. So I found this other program. It's called YCI, Youth Coaching Institute. What? It is amazing. If you guys have ever thought about being a youth life coach, please check it out. The training was amazing and smart and intelligent and gave me this foundation to be able to go out there and help so many people. So I did that 6-month program. I started working. And since then, my life has just really transformed into this amazing thing I never even thought possible. And part of that is this whole process of coaching, that I was able to figure out what it is that I needed and wanted in my life. And then I made a plan in order to put all of that together and have it mold and blend and mesh. And it just worked, guys. It just worked. So here I am now. We're not quite a year into when I had graduated the program at YCI. And I'm bringing this podcast, Mind the Gap, because I want to share the things that I know. I want to talk about the things that all y'all can do on your own to help you narrow this shit down and get some clarity. I am going to be sharing all kinds of stuff with you, and hopefully I'll be bringing some people on and we'll be talking about some really deep stuff, doing some interviews. I am going to warn you now, I am absolutely going to be talking about Black Lives Matter. As a white woman, I need to be lifting my voice so that y'all hear the voices of the people that aren't being heard. So if that's not what you want to hear about, just know that it's coming. I'll put a warning up, which is silly, but I will put a tag, Black Lives Matter, in the heading so you know that if you don't want to listen to it, if you don't want to be enlightened, if you don't want to gain more information and broaden your view of this universe, then you don't have to. You do not have to sign up for that. I'm also going to be talking about Me Too movement. I'm going to be talking about, I'm just going to talk about pretty much everything. I'm going to be talking about my life. I'm going to be talking about things I learn about as a coach. I'm going to be talking about things that I learn through the process of working with my own clients, the things that I learn working through my own life. And we're just going to keep it real and things are just going to kind of flow. And I really hope that you'll stick around and listen in and tune in and subscribe and all of those other beautiful things. And if you need anything beyond what I'm offering you here at this podcast, please, please, please reach out. You can hit me up on my website. It's JenniferButlerLC.com. That has all of my information on there, all of my links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, text message, Facebook Messenger, all of that stuff. It's just right there, one hotspot. I am sincere about this offer, that if you're listening and you think, wow, I could really, really use someone to talk to, y'all just call me, send me an email. I'll have a conversation with you. That is my pleasure in life, is having that initial conversation with people to really, really help get some clarity. And that's not going to cost you a dime. All it's going to cost is your time and some growth. So with that, I'm going to cut it out. This is short and sweet. I'm going to hopefully be bringing this to you guys weekly. We'll see. I've got a life, y'all. Like, there are things going on in my life. You'll learn about that. So that's it. That's it. This is welcome to Mind the Gap. We're going to be talking about how to control our minds to gain control over our lives. I cannot wait to go down this journey with y'all. Until next time.